Sarah from the Pitch 617. Obviously, we're missing a Manny, but this is called Girl Chat. So we're going to talk a little bit about the industry and where I came from and Nashville roots. And we're doing a crossover podcast with Millennial Girls, Racquel Goldy. I'm so excited to have you. Welcome, Racquel. Although she's one of my best friends. So
I know. I was going to say, this is like
I talk to her every day.
Formal, I think, introduction from
Most
you.
Most formal ever for us, ever.
Yeah, totally.
I know. So about, what was it, 2015, Racquel and I met. So back when things were really cool and we could actually do live, we met in the media room at the CMT. Was it the summer thing? No, CMA. CMA summer.
Yeah, so I saw you in the media room, right? And I was like, she's nice and she's blonde, mind you. I had just graduated college. I was like a little baby. I didn't know, like, I was so eager
with my staff too.
You looked super cool, and I was like, she's cool. Like, she looks like she knows what she's doing. I was just winging it. Yeah, it was the blonde. I was just winging it, and I finally met you. We were going into an elevator. We were leaving the convention center, CMA Fest, and for those of you who don't know, it's the biggest country music festival basically on the planet. It's it's in Nashville, and it's basically a week-long activities. And it's
most exhausting week of anybody in media and as an artist's life.
I think, honestly, out of everything I've done, I've worked in sports, I've worked in country music, I've worked in EDM. I think CMA Fest is still the most tiring week I've ever had, for sure.
I think any of artists would say that too, because when you see them after it's over, you see all these tweets about how tired they are, because it's nonstop. You get up, from makeup, like, you do your makeup before 8 a.m. and like it's just like
oh my 7 a.m. Before 7 a.m. Yeah. It's such a good week though. I mean, I know I always say you get so much experience when you're out in the field, and for me, graduating from journalism school and kind of going straight into doing that, I think my first CMA Fest, I hadn't even graduated from college yet. So I went back to school to do my last semester of college, and I was like, guys, I totally just got so much experience. Like, it was so much, it was so funny. And all my professors were like, ooh, tell us more. And I was like, like, I'm the cool kid who got to do it.
But you know what, Racquel, in your defense, you did worked at the time for Stage Right Secrets. I worked at Dirty Water Media here in Boston, and you had kind of better interviews sometimes than I would. You had Brett Young before Brett Young even blew up.
Oh my God.
That's what we were talking about in the elevator. Actually, now it's all coming back.
Yeah. Yes. I was going
to interview him. He's so hot.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was definitely like, don't look into his eyes because you'll get lost in them for sure. Yep. Yeah. But no, it was so much fun. And then we got to that November go to all of CMA week activities. So that was fun too.
Oh my God. That is all right. We were talking about that all the time. If you're not in the industry, you have no idea how much fun it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, so much fun. For us, we do interviews for 3 days straight, and then we go to the CMA Awards. However, you and I, like, we're going to be honest about it. We don't like to go to the CMA Awards.
I didn't. Okay, so
I don't, because they put me in the nosebleeds.
The 1 year I went, I got to see Justin Timberlake and Chris Stapleton perform together, and honestly, after that was like, nothing can ever, like, I don't even know, nothing will ever be that ever again, I think, in my life, unless I see, like, I don't even know, but even still to this day, that's still one of the best moments I've ever had in my life.
I know.
And the next year, I didn't even go to the awards. Yeah.
Did you the year after that?
What'd you say?
No, that was the same year then.
Was it?
Well, the year of Stapleton and Justin, yes, for sure. Because that was the best epic Big Machine party ever.
Oh, yes. Okay. So we just.
And they never got any better after that. No offense, Big Machine, but we've never got any better.
We've definitely had our fun in Nashville and had our wild moments. And it's so funny because it's one of those things that I feel like for whatever reason, nothing, I don't know, maybe you feel differently, but whatever reason, that friend group that I made of media and journalists and just even singers and songwriters, nothing really ever compares to that friendship circle and bond, because you go through so much in such a short amount of time when you're there for CMA Fest or CMA Awards or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You get so much done, you meet so many people. So I don't know, all those people always have such a like special place in my heart, and
they definitely will. You're right, because like that is the era of like the growing of like, I don't know, you got Michael Ray, he wasn't big yet. Yeah, Tyler, he wasn't even on the map yet. Morgan Wallen was
Wallen. I interviewed him twice,
and now he's like up for like the ACM this week.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Did he win it?
I have no idea. It's happening right now, so I don't know. It's happening.
They didn't announce the winners ahead of time. I think actually, I don't know. That's the other thing you and I have discussed, and is the best new artist. So I think he was nominated for best new artist. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, he's not like a new artist. And we were talking about that, like with Carly Pierce. We believe she was nominated for that last year, whether their ex-husband to be Michael Ray, speaking of Michael Ray. And how do you get nominated for Best New Artist twice?
You know, I think we were talking about this on the music podcast I'm on.
By the way, cheers.
Cheers. Yay.
Talking
about this on the music podcast I'm on, Be on the Front Row. And we were kind of just discussing how it's super weird with award shows, how they do things, especially in country music, because let's be honest, there is a blatant, like, especially with women, they're behind the 8 ball a little bit, especially with who's nominated and things. I mean, the fact that Kelsey Ballerini is not nominated for a CMA award 2 years in a row. I mean, I don't agree with that. But
you know what? I will say it because I have no holds barred. I will not do not hold Racquel to this. Who paid more for who to be on the ballot? Just saying.
And, all that comes into play. I think everyone knows, labels definitely pay for stuff, and it's definitely not as squeaky clean as people think. But, I mean, come on. Kelsey's literally the biggest. I'm sorry. She's one of the biggest female artists in country music, in pop music. Yeah. She's starting to cross over. So, for her to not be nominated is just, that leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
It was huge. It was huge. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's definitely, the country music scene is lacking a little bit. And you know what? I feel like when we were in it, it was just starting to
pop.
Yeah, it really was, because it was, I vividly remember getting into multiple conversations with people, whether it be, like I said, artists or, people who work in management or labels, how people were starting to get mad because they were saying country music's not country anymore. This is when Chris Lane came out. This is when Tyler, everyone who we just kind of mentioned, who was kind of the crossover, everyone was getting really like mad. Like country fans were like, this is not country. This is not country.
This is pop.
And I got in a full on heated discussion with someone actually down here at one of the country bars. I think this was a couple years ago now, because they were saying it's not country music. And I was like, okay, well, every music genre is evolving. So people are going to think certain things aren't pop. People are going to think certain things aren't rap. People are going to think certain things aren't alternative. I mean, dude, you're the reason. You are the reason people can't broaden their horizons.
Exactly. It's been crazy. And like for us, like I'll say it again, I'll take all like the dismay, but we were there when nobody else was. There was like small little like outlets like Dirty Water, Stage Right, you, me. We had every interview you can imagine. I could get Thomas Rhett like this. However, now we've been with them for say 5 years before they like really pop, like Dan and Shay. And I love Dan and Shay, but we can't get the interviews anymore because now we have ET taking over. However, or E News. However, they should hire you and I, because it would be a lot.
It's definitely,
and everybody already knows us, so.
I think it's one of those things too, but it's not just country music with this. I think it's definitely an issue with different genres, because I feel like now that I'm in quarantine and I lost my job, I will say that.
And you do a lot of K-pop, you did EDM. Tell them a little bit about being on the radio.
Yeah, so I actually, pre-COVID, so I had gotten the job at a EDM radio station in Miami, Revolution 93.5. I actually got the job last October. I was the afternoon drive, so it was 2 p.m., 2 to 6. And I had so much fun. We were South Florida's home of dance music. So I got to interview everyone from Martin Garrix to Brooklyn to the small artists and everyone in between. And it was so much fun. And then COVID happened. So unfortunately I lost my job, but it's one of those things that I got to interview almost everyone I wanted to. I wrote out a list when I first got hired of DJs who I really wanted to talk to, because I'm heavily into EDM music, especially living in South Florida and being an hour away from Miami, going to all the pool parties. And I love it. So I got to interview Martin Garrix. I got to interview Cheat Codes. And I always say, everyone's always like, who are the nicer people? And I always say, honestly, the musicians and the artists in country music and EDM, the DJs, they're the sweetest people. They're so nice, and they talk to you. You can talk to each other like you're having a normal conversation. And
it'd be like you and I right now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so funny because obviously when COVID happened, it actually, one of the craziest weeks in South Florida, Miami Music Week, and which leads up to Ultra Music Festival, was supposed to happen. And that was basically our Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl down here was just a precursor to what was supposed to be Miami Music Week and Ultra. And I basically said, as soon as everything was canceled, we were still going to work because we are a media outlet, so we were allowed.
Right.
Yeah, we obviously had to update everyone with what was going on in the world, but I said, we should be doing these Zoom interviews. Every single person who we were trying to interview at Ultra or Music Week, we need to pivot and we need to do Zoom interviews. Yeah. So it was so funny because I was scheduling and doing all these Zoom interviews, and these DJs were just like locked up in their houses all over the world. So I would okay, the interview's over, and they'd be like, hi, what are you doing? I'm like, guys, I love you, but I gotta go. I have to do my show. Like, we'll talk later. So it's so nice when you get that personal, they think you're a person and they don't look at you weird. And I feel like it's always really interesting, especially as journalists and media personalities. I feel like sometimes we get really bad raps because people think we're being intrusive or we're just talking smack. And I don't do that type of journalism. That's not my thing. Nope. I'm not trying to be like a TMZ type of situation. Nope. I want to actually be the person who's connecting the artist to the fan and getting to have fun, because at the big scheme of things, people are watching interviews because they want to get to know more about their favorite artist, or they want to just see them not as being oh my God, this person's so famous.
And that's so true. And for us, it's just like talking, like I said, it's like talking amongst ourselves and doing all that. And I mean, for me, like we talked about this, like 2020 has been a rough year. 19 was rough, but this has just been a new spectrum. We are starting to lose DJs on the radio. Up here in Boston, not so much because they're like older. Like Maddie in the Morning is like a staple. Like they're probably iHeart's biggest morning show. However, like we're starting to lose DJs, and like I said to you, I'm like, at least I have this job that I do and I still have a paycheck coming in, but it's not my passion. And I feel bad for somebody like you who's doing journalism, but I'm so proud of you because you're doing so many things. You have the Millennial Girls Podcast where you're talking about issues that, like, I'm always like, sometimes millennials drive me crazy. Like you and I will get it. I'm like, it's like having a little sister.
Yeah, I'm the little sister, which is great because I've always wanted an older one. So
I'm like, what are you saying, you little biatch? You know what it is?
Like, what do you mean?
I don't talk, you speak. But I think that's a great thing that you're doing that with the podcast. And then you have Eric Zachary, who is he actually did the bowl up here in Boston. So you guys, BFR, right?
Yeah, Be on the Front Row. So he started a music podcast. If you guys don't know who Eric Zachary is, he actually was hosting the reboot of TRL.
They must be like sleeping under a rock because he's been around.
Right. I mean, but people don't know. Like, it's so funny because the story with Eric's actually really, really funny because I remember watching the reboot of TRL. The whole reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because I was obsessed with TRL when I was little. I would come home from school, I would watch Carson Daly and everyone else interview Britney Spears and all the big NSYNC and everyone, and I wanted to be the person asking the questions.
Oh, awesome, right?
That's why I went to school for journalism. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I actually followed Eric on social media years ago, and then about a year ago we like reconnected, and in about March, April, I want to say, he kind of started Beyond the Front Row, and it's evolved as to what it is today. And it's basically a music podcast, kind of like a radio show, morning show mixed with news. So I basically cover everything going on in like boy band world, whether it be K-pop or anything else. So I'm living my best. I'm basically the boy band correspondent, which is my dream. It's my dream come true. It truly is. It makes
especially the ones in like Korea.
Yeah, I love K-pop now. So nothing makes me happier than talking about all the idol groups in K-pop and like One Direction's reunion, or we thought it was gonna be a reunion, but it didn't happen.
Disclaimer here: I never know what she's talking about.
Yeah, she's always like, "Wait, what's happening?" She texted me the other day, and she's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Girl,
what's K-pop?"
I was like, "I gotta leave you a voice note for this because I can't." Yeah, so I'm up on all things K-pop and boy bands, so it's really fun. But yeah, no, I'm doing that, and then I'm also doing, speaking of K-pop, reaction videos with my friend Brooke, who is on air.
So funny.
Yeah, on air down here on the iHeart affiliate in Miami, and we both love K-pop, and it's been one of those things that we've kind of discovered in quarantine. And I grew up competitively dancing, so anything that's dancing and singing, I'm like, I'm in it to win it. And they're still really putting on like shows over there. When you're buying a ticket to a concert, you're going to expect a great show, singing, dancing, all this crazy stuff in between. I feel like here we're in Sad Girl Summer. Every song sounds like it's going to be in a Netflix teen rom-com. And I can't. Like, I'm so glad that there's other music genres I've discovered during quarantine. So I definitely know how to keep myself busy, but so do you. I mean, I think that's what attracted, we always say your vibe attracts your tribe, and we did this past episode on that actually for Millennial Girls, and
it's good.
We definitely, our vibe attracts our tribe over here.
That's God, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, oh my God, the funny things that have ever happened with you and I. Like, people don't understand. I'll be like, there's a different vibe with me and Racquel versus you and like someone else. I'm like, the funniest things happened. We're gonna have to post this in this episode of us. I mean, speaking of Big Machine, we left the Big Machine party, which had every artist. You're just walking, and it wasn't crowded, so it was like you were walking amongst like Thomas Rhett. I remember I was talking like Scott Bush out of era for a while. I'm like, this is me and Racquel. We should do a show on your like thing. He thought that was brilliant.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
He was dressed as Dracula. I remember he had a cape on. Like he had a black cape on. It was really interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot happening. It was
a lot was happening. Right?
I don't know. Was that the year it wasn't cold?
It wasn't cold. It was the nicest CMA night ever because it's never been nicer than that night. And you and I heard Taylor Swift was at what party? I almost swore. I think it was Warner. No. There was a bigger party that night, and we went to it, and it just had ended.
Warner had just ended. We were going to Warner.
Why was she at Warner though? I can't remember that. But I don't remember. But
this was like 4 years ago. I really don't remember.
But we have the best video of us. This is pre-Uber. We're getting in a cab.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a minivan. And I thought we were going to die in this minivan. And you're just like, la la la.
Putting on my lip gloss, like living my best life. And he like went over a bump or something, and everything goes flying. And guys, Cab life. Hashtag cab life. We have to put the video in
that
here.
That has to be in this. It is so funny. It's so funny. It's just like a funny like time, but that was like the best time. Like I feel like that's like where everything kind of got stuck.
I always kind of think back to that period because my best friend Chelsea now lives in Nashville.
I know. Hi, Chelsea.
I know, hi, Chelsea. Even when I go visit her, I feel like it's not the same. Like those were really the best times. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like I don't know if like we were super lucky to be a part of everything we were able to be a part of.
Right.
When it happened, it was almost like the stars aligned, and it was, I don't know, it wasn't before social media, but social media was just really popping off. Like
Instagram wasn't even that big.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it wasn't a thing to have like a gajillion million followers yet.
No, nobody cared.
And it was before everyone did have a gajillion million followers. So it's just so funny that it was really special. Whenever I think back and look at those pictures, you could tell how genuinely happy I am and everything. I don't know. You know though, if you were even if you just visited though, I feel like, you know what I mean, it was still so special. And
it was different. It last year was different. Like, I did not enjoy CMA the way I had in the past last year. I almost like, I had 2 trips back to back I had to do, and it was like a 1-day respite in between work, coming back from Nashville to Boston, and then I had to go back out, and I was like, that wasn't even worth my time. It was like, nobody wanted to do interviews like they used to do, whatever. I'm not, you know, joshing on them or anything, but it's just like, I'm just like, I had a memory that came back and I started laughing and I'm like, what was it? What was it? It was me and you, and something funny happened too, but I can't remember what it was.
It's just one of those things. It was such a special time. And I think, you know, everything happens for a reason. So we were meant to be with everyone and meet the people we met and have those experiences, because I mean, honestly, with everything going on in the world right now, who knows when we're going to be able to do another interview anytime soon. That was something I was really thinking about, because obviously when I was still at the radio station, normally people do radio tours and radio promo for EDM, and for the DJs it's a little bit different. Basically, whenever they came to Miami to do their club shows, we would either go to the club shows or they would come to the station.
And we can't go to concerts.
I mean, you can't go to concerts. This is the longest I think I haven't been to a concert in probably like 10 years of my life.
Well, I just did the last thing that I thought it would be, still having a concussion, was that cruise back in November. And it was a bumpy cruise. I kid you not. If you're taking a ship that's tipping like this the whole time as you're interviewing on the top floor and have a concussion, there's some pretty good outtakes.
Yeah, I mean, the last CMA Fest I did, I had just gotten a really bad concussion, remember?
Yes.
I was like so sick. I had to go to urgent care. Everyone listening is gonna be like, how do they get concussions? What's happening? Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, that was a time. That was an interesting
but
time.
I think everything, like you said, like everything's like a time. It's like everything like manifested itself, because like you talked about Eric Zachary, right as he got TRL, I was with Jessica from the Boston iHeart, and we were hanging out with him partying. It was like pre-Christmas, and then TRL was supposed to come out. Yeah, and it wasn't as successful as they hoped, which is weird. Yeah,
he was on our podcast, and he had kind of just, it was kind of one of those things that, you know, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but it was kind of one of those things that you had to live up into such a high expectation. And even he didn't even know at first, because he said this on our podcast episode, he didn't even know at first that it was going to be TRL. They had a completely different name when they were auditioning. So it kind of felt like it was TRL. They were already kind of set up for failure, because everyone was like, who are these people? What are they doing? They're trying to do TRL. I mean, to have that experience, to be able to say you hosted something like that, and to be able to say that I'm now one of his co-hosts on a show is so crazy to me, because like I said before, I remember watching TRL and being like, he's really good. Like, this guy's good. Okay. And we're the same age. So it's definitely a really interesting how the world works and everything, you know. I'm so much more a believer of everything happens for a reason, and like the things manifesting themselves than before, because I remember following him on Twitter a while ago and being like, I want to work with him. And now we're doing a podcast together. So it's
out there.
Yeah. Anything, put it out to the universe, because it's bound to happen for sure.
Yep. I mean, I think for me with that, I think the only thing, like when I was a kid, I was always wanting a Chihuahua, and now I've had 4. Yeah, I mean, it's a rotation to have passed, and I have 2 more. Who's probably snoozling over there in the background. I wish you could see this, because
it's the cutest dogs, guys.
Because Buddy's in Maverick's bed, and Maverick's in Buddy's, and Maverick's legs just like overhanging.
Oh my god, stop! They're so cute. But no, you adapted as well. You started a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those.
I mean, sometimes my host is good. Sometimes he shows up. Sometimes he doesn't.
But I showed up, so it's fine.
I mean, he is such a diva, that Manny Del Carmen man. I mean, like, he's like last weekend, Saturday. So we've been doing, like, with Annie Bropes, we've been doing these drive-by concerts, because she got really creative. She's one of Boston's, like, country music artists, and she got creative. So she hired her team, and they come in. This guy, like, drags in this little trailer and she performs on the stage. It's great, you know. And then, you know, we have that with Manny. He shows up for those things, but you know, when I need him to, he might need to see this episode.
Manny, what's up?
Oh, that my point was I introduced, like, in his neighborhood totally get it. I was like, you know, we have a very funny relationship, and I'm like always rolling my eyes. Oh, you're a Red Sox player. So I'm like, hey, Manny's neighborhood. Like, I did my, like, I think I'm funny, you know. I'm like, hey, it's Dr. Sarah Russo from Dirty Water Media. I mean, I did a pitch with this guy named Manny Carmen. Did you guys know that he played baseball? And they're all like, what? Yeah, of course we did, because he probably tells us that 100 times a day.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny though, because you guys have that relationship on your podcast, but it works, you know what I mean? And that's how me and Eric are the same way. Like, he's always like, Racquel, trying to put words in my mouth. I'm like, whoa, I did not say that.
Racquel will not put up with this.
Yeah, no, I'm always, it's so fun though. And then with Millennial Girls, me and Natasha, it's such a good dynamic too, because she's engaged and she has that life. And I'm like, single as a Pringle, what's up, guys? Like, yeah. So
guys, I'm just calling it and I'm manifesting it, not in your, like, I don't want this to happen to you, but she's going to end up like me, like, this guy's so annoying. I can't. I just need to further my career.
I mean, that's me always. That's why.
Me always. So you're going to just follow me in my footsteps. You know, I'm like so many funny things. Like, so my parents live in Fort Myers, so Racquel's come to visit. We did the Chris Lane concert thing. Down the street was like, what was it, 1 mile from the house, and we got the first time like Uber, and the guy spoke total like Spanish. We had no idea. He had no idea he was taking us, and he was taking us around. I'm like, finally, we're at Dairy Queen's parking lot.
We're like, we can just walk. It's fine at this point. I forgot about that. We've had so many fun experiences, but again, it's like it's so funny because Florida, I mean, if people don't know, Florida has a really big country music scene up in West Palm, on the west coast of Florida, which is Fort Myers. Yep. So it was like an hour and a half for me to drive over to Fort Myers, and we would go to all the country venues. I went, actually, the last time I was there was last October because I saw Billy Currington. And that was, I think, was that like the last one?
Make you want to bend that.
Oh, I love that song. It's so good. I love that. Billy Currington's one of those people you go to his concert and you're just like, this is such a great vibe.
So speaking of like stuff, so like we do get like a lot of gossip. Like you're not in the country scene as much because you do the EDM, but I mean, we have so much gossip. We have, like, I was telling Racquel about, like, I'm like, somebody's like, go on Reddit and Google this out. Like we have the Brittany Aldeans showing off too much from Jason's house, to the Carly Pierce, Michael Ray scandal, which I have so many friends vested in that drama that I get daily things. So it's like, who's Michael Ray dating? What do you think of all that? Like the Tommy Lauren, or there was a Travis daughter. I was on, so hey.
Hey. Well, I was so in that world. It's one of those things that even up until, I mean, even when I still worked for the Florida Panthers, the NHL team, I was their in-arena host for 3 years and digital host.
Yeah, you were doing that in between doing Tortuga.
Yeah. Guys, what's sleep? Sleep is for the weak.
I did fall asleep on one night that I wish I didn't miss, that we were all.
Oh my gosh, you did. Yeah. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. I passed out. I drank too much that night.
It happens to the best of us.
I know, but you guys told me to get up, but I couldn't.
I know. Hey, I don't blame you, because honestly, now I would totally pick and choose.
Yeah, where I was coming from that night, it was like midnight, and everybody was at this like local bar in Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. There's Brett Eldridge saying may or may not have hooked up with Jen Saviano. I mean,
we don't know if that happened. She's spreading rumors. Oh my gosh. No, it's so funny. It's one of those things that I was so in the country music scene. And then like, I feel like when I started working at the radio station is when I was like, totally didn't know what was going on anymore. And that was the first time in like 5 years. So it was super weird. And even now I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Now I'm in K-pop land and like, I love it. So
I know. I'll be like, Racquel, what do you think of this? And you're like, I don't know. I'm like,
what do you
calling Cody?
Yeah, I'm calling Cody and I'm like, sorry.
K-pop is.
I know. I'm it's fine though, because it's like you tell me things, I tell you things. Yep. It's almost It's almost, I mean, I think it's better because now we're like well versed in everything instead of just one genre of music, but it's
I know. And then me and my healthcare. So we don't want to talk about that because it's boring.
Girl, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not fun. Nope. We can talk acne products another time.
Oh my gosh, please help. The maskne.
The maskne is like real.
Maskne is so real. It's, you know, it's really funny though. We were talking about it. I was talking about it with a couple different people. I think with Eric, with Natasha. Oh, when he was on our podcast.
Yeah.
We are kind of the only, not the only, but our field of work has been able to transition to at home. I feel like the best.
Right.
Everyone's room is a home studio now. I have my ring light. I have my desk. I have my mic.
Yeah, that's good.
We're able to pivot very quickly and figure it out. So at least that's good for us, because I feel like if we didn't start the podcast, I would definitely be losing my mind for sure. Like,
I know. You have to. I mean, I just do feel for you, all you guys out there, like journalism world, like our whole crew is just like hurting. And all you say, like, is like people like, you know, these big stations. I'm like, well, you know what? Why don't you give this girl or that girl a chance? Because I know that we're not related to somebody per se, but maybe, you know, give a girl a chance, or one of their shows. The BFR show is like definitely gonna pop for sure.
Yeah, we're hoping. It's super fun. We added in a new element this week with like a live call-in. So it's, I mean, we've expanded.
Oh my God, can I live call in?
Yeah, you can totally live call-in. As long as you're watching and you kind of know what we're talking about, go for it.
I might not know what like K-pop is though.
Oh no, we were talking about yesterday. We talked to, what do we have? Oh, like a Billboard Fan Army face-off is happening. So we had someone call in and say what they thought about that, and it's just so fun. You know what I mean? It's fun too to be able to talk with all your friends and be able to have a show that wouldn't normally happen because everyone was busy with
nobody would know.
Everyone was busy doing their stuff. So
yeah,
it's definitely, the creatives are going to come out on top. So
I think so.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens in 2021. We're all building, you know.
Yeah, it's also hard. I will say that one of the bring yourself back down to earth moments has definitely happened for sure during quarantine for me, and I'm sure, you know, for you as well, because when you're working at a radio station or a bigger media outlet, you can really interview anyone you want, and when everyone's like, oh, can we do this interview, they're like, well, how many followers do you have? And you're like, well, we're a new baby podcast, but this many years of experience, I've done this much, and I'm fun.
I know. Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, it is hard like that because I get the same pushback, and I'm like, well, I still have the million that follow this and that.
Yeah.
But about your podcast, yeah, we started a month ago, so
we're a baby, but yeah.
But I supported your baby artist 5 years ago.
Right. You know? Exactly. So
I'm very real. You don't have to be. I am, because I have a backup job. So whatever.
I have a backup job. Yeah, well, it's funny because we at first our podcast.
I love that job.
I love it so much. Our podcast changed Millennial Girls changed a lot from when we first started, just even to now.
So you guys had, you know, you had your video, your reaction video. You got over 200,000 responses to that.
It literally hit 200,000 like an hour ago, which is crazy.
That's great.
200,000 people.
I think I have a ski sip left in my Fleming's glass. Woo.
Cheers.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking, by the way?
No idea. It's a blush. That's.
You're making me blush. Also, I'm going to be sending Racquel Goldy some wine.
Yeah, please. Someone help me. Yeah, I don't know. It's a blush. It's blush. It's a blush wine.
There's so many things that I laugh at with you. I'm just like, you know, this is great.
I know. We needed this. It was so funny. We talked about
a billboard to tell us what to talk about.
We talked about we have no script, guys. We have nothing.
This is all off the cuff. We have nothing scripted.
But yeah, it's 200,000 people. That's a lot of people.
That's great. But you know what? I like what you're doing with that because, like I said to you, I don't understand millennials. A lot of people my age don't. Late 30s, you know what I'm saying? We don't. I mean, I was listening to what you said, and it's true. You guys grew up on the computers, social media, this and that. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I think it's got a fault and it's got a positive. It's like a negative positive. Like there's like you were saying with your co-host, it was like, you're comparing yourself to everybody else. And then I've been recently learning I do the same thing. I'm like,
yeah.
why don't I look like that? Well, why don't I look like that? Well, you don't look like that because you couldn't work out for a year and you gained 10 pounds and now you just lost it and you're starting to look yourself. You have to stop comparing yourself to everybody else. You need to do you. Like, I hate that saying, but you need to become who you are, who you want to be, and just put that out there.
Totally. I mean,
and I think you do a great job of it.
Buddy's
growling because Maverick just is, hold on, Maverick's going to make a guest star.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
My little fats.
Oh my gosh.
Maverick.
He's so mushy, guys.
My little Mav. He's not so little.
Oh my God, he's so mushy.
Say hi, Mav.
Hey, Mav. What mush. So
my little adoptee.
Yeah. Maverick's like, I do what I want. I look how I want to, and I love my life.
He does live his life. He's a millennial.
He is a millennial.
He's only 5, so he's a millennial.
He's an alpha, basically. We discovered that there was a new generation under Z. It's alpha.
Yeah, he's a Z.
Yeah, there's alpha. Generation Alpha is under Z, and we were like,
adopt, don't shop. Adopt, don't shop, people.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I think what we wanted to the podcast,
like relaxing. Oh, I'm sorry. We keep being. Is this how boring you?
The podcast episode that we released today for Millennial Girls was about why people hate millennials.
I saw it.
And why people hate millennials and kind of why we are living in the comparison culture world and everyone thinks it's like our fault, but it's not our fault because we grew up with, we were there for the start of social media, the birth of social media. So like, obviously it's natural to kind of progress with it. So I don't know, we'll see what happens with it, but I've definitely during quarantine, like for my sanity, have been reading a lot of self-help books and have been realizing like
you have to do that.
Okay, you need to put down your phone this weekend. You need to put down your phone this weekend and you need to do what you want to do and don't be attached to the phone. And I think another thing that's like so crazy too is if I do that, people are like, why aren't you answering me? What's wrong with you? Da-da-da-da. I'm like, are you mad at me? I'm like,
I can say that to you. I'd be like, why aren't you answering?
Yes, but like you're different. It's like I'm like, but if you are, I text you and I'm like, hey, I'm putting down my phone. You're like, oh my God, okay. Yeah. Like it's crazy that we think that way. We're like, oh my God, are you mad at me? And I'm like,
are you mad?
Yeah. No, I'm not mad.
Manny, that's you. Anyway, so like, yeah, like if you don't answer somebody so quickly, it's like, okay, I'm working a 12-hour day where I'm doing about 50 flu shots plus taking care of patients. It's crazy. So like you get it. Like we were having a full-on conversation and it just stopped and I didn't get home till like after 10 and I was like, oh, I didn't see this. I'm so sorry. But like, don't be sorry.
I'm like, okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's 99% of the time, let's be real. If something like that, it's like nothing urgent. So it's fine. And I mean, for people who, again, I always say we're, before this all happened, we're some of the busiest people on the planet. So if I don't answer you back, I'm not going to get mad if you're not answering me back.
You get it. Yeah. But I mean, just people need to just chill because this is a weird time in life.
Kumbaya. Deep breaths, people.
We can't even just do like normal things like go to yoga class and stuff like that anymore. So it's definitely weird. And sometimes your parents come and live with you and take over your space, Betty and Tom. But I mean, like, whatever.
Called out. Yeah, no, for me, it was the opposite. I live at home, but I'm never actually home. So I'm like,
I do have a comment from Tom Russo for you off air.
I'm like, it's so funny because now I'm like, all right, quite on set. I'm recording these days, this times. You can't like interrupt me. And my dad's like, this is my house. And I'm like, well, you're living in it. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry about it.
That's so funny because I had to tape like this infomercial for immunity. Mm-hmm. And every time I talk, Betty was clearing the dishwasher and be like, clank. Okay. And I wouldn't say anything. And then I tape it again. Clank. And I'm like, really? And then all of a sudden my dad's like, you gotta stop. And then she gets defensive. But that's okay. It's fine.
I mean, it's all about adjusting. All about adjusting.
Tab life, like hashtag COVID life.
literally COVID life is adjusting and pivoting. That's what I always say, because there's,
I know.
What are you going to do at this point?
I know. But before we lead out, I was thinking about musicians and stuff. What do you think is going to happen to a lot of them? I don't, as a healthcare person, think like it's going to happen again next year. I don't think we're going to have a concert in April, June, November. I don't think anything's happening. What's going to happen to like people that we grew up with that they're shiny now, they're okay, but the people who are like them, what do you think will happen?
Yeah, like
I think like labels are going to have to make cuts.
I think so too. I mean, it's already happening, and I was on a 100-person Zoom call in like May, I want to say.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, with a bunch of music industry people, and they were like, you know what? Festivals, concerts, don't think anything's happening until 2022. And I swear to you, I literally was so thankful my Zoom was muted because I screamed. I was like, 2022? Like, I'm used to being at a concert.
It's in your 20s, girlfriend, but for me, you know, I'm old over here.
No, I'm 27. Like, I'm getting up there, so we don't.
Good. So your 30th will be COVID free.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be. Wow, lots gonna happen
now.
I'm gonna be living my best life. I'm gonna be like, that's it. I'm traveling for 6 months. I'm going to every single country festival and every festival.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, everything. It's I mean, a lot of people were DMing me, Natasha, at the beginning of quarantine. And Natasha's my co-host for the Millennial Girls Podcast and who I worked with at the radio station.
Yeah.
And we were doing Instagram lives, and everyone's number one question was, you know, what's going to happen? When do you think a concert's going to happen? What's going to happen? And I'm like, I don't know. Until there's a vaccine, people aren't going to be packed into 60,000 person stadiums. It's not going to happen. So
I'm very cautious. You're very cautious. We talk about it all the time. Like, you won't see me out inside eating. I've become a good cook. You can come over my house though, anytime.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I'm. What is this? September.
The jacuzzi. It's hotted up. We got foods.
Oh yeah.
I got lots of wine.
You and that jacuzzi girl, you love it. It's amazing.
I know. I mean, we have, what is it? Spilling the tea in the tub. I just started.
Spilling the tea in the tub.
Spilling tea in the tub. Let's talk about Colin and all his girlfriends. Anyway, so that's how that goes. But we don't do that on my podcast.
That's not on the podcast. That's on TikTok.
That's on TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think though? Because I'm curious. I mean, I've said my piece, and I'm like, I don't know about all this in 2021, 2022 for sure, maybe. But what do you think?
I think that anyone who thinks that there's going to be a vaccine by November 1st is crazy. It's not going to happen. I'm a healthcare professional, Dr. Sarah. Hello.
Yeah.
And we'll be lucky if we see it by the end of 2021. So just brace yourselves, get a good mask, hang in there.
Yeah.
We're going to get through this. We got Zoom. Maybe we'll get something
podcast.
Zoom. We have our podcast. Will be great. Racquel will be a shining star because she's amazing at this. So, you know.
You too.
I'm just hanging in there.
We're doing the damn thing, right? We're trying to at least.
Hanging in there, you know. We're talking a lot of things Boston, but I wanted to do a crossover. Can you hear the snoring, by the way?
Yes.
That's Maverick Russo.
But I love that because it's part of the, you know, the being at home. Like it's, you know,
Maverick Russo is not a silent sleeper. You can follow him at Instagram at Mr. Mavi0121 because he has the same birthday.
It's so funny. I can't.
Literally, we do, because the girl who fostered him hit me up, excuse you, and was like, oh my God, your birthday's January 21st. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, that's Mavericks. He was born in January 2015. So we picked a date. It was the 21st of January.
Oh my gosh, that's so.
He just had his adoptiversary last week, 3 years.
I love
September 11th. He flew in of all days.
So cute. So cute.
You can hear him.
I remember when you got him, I was like, oh my gosh, so much.
But he was so small. He was so small, but I think he's half corgi. We're waiting on those DNA results because he didn't have a thyroid disorder. We tried that too.
Oh, maybe he is half corgi.
Well, he's got the corgi like butt. He's got a big butt.
He's got a trunk, and that's okay.
He's got a big butt. Raquel's known all my dogs. Bruzy. I don't know if he knew Pappy, but Bruiser, you know.
I didn't know
Pappy. But you knew Bruiser.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's little paw prints up in the back. But yeah. So yeah, we got a lot going on.
What's going on? So
yeah, but I really think that show with you and Eric is gonna pop, and I think that's exciting, and I hope so because you need a break.
Yeah, thank you. Please.
You know,
Follow us.
now.
Follow us. I'm like, it's so hard to even plug. I'm like, follow me here.
I know you have a lot going on. And Millennial Girls, I mean, that's a great show for people your age. It really is. Like, or like even my age, just to like, I was seeing the things that you're posting, like Mark Zuckerberg, although he needs to go. You know, like age group, like the same age group. And it's like, great. You know, I mean, there are people, but I think it's the tail end. There's a Gen Z millennial mix up.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I think the one after you guys, there's a definite like disconnect. I will say, like, I do notice that they're younger than you, which is crazy to me because I think you're like one of the youngest people I know. But like, I'll be talking to them and they're like, this is more work.
It's like this.
And I'm like, oh my God. Because I love to talk, and they're like, I'm like, hello.
Yeah, I know. I taught dance for 9 years, and even being like, hello, like, what are you doing? Like,
I have no idea. I feel bad because it's gonna be weird. They're gonna be like other presidents, like such, because they're not gonna know how to communicate.
Shots fired.
2021. But anyway, I love that I can be myself with you and like just talk about whatever. Yeah.
It's so fun. We kind of sat down and we're like, let's just talk.
Let's sometimes just do a crossover with Millennial Girls. We'll get our co-hosts on the next time.
Yes.
And I hope you come co-host more of my little segments with me.
Yeah, whenever you need me.
This is probably very long for people, but they should listen because it's very interesting detail into the background of country music.
Of our lives too.
Like what's going on backstage.
Yeah, we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot.
A lot of things that we don't gossip about out loud. Out loud. So where can everybody follow you? You got Millennial Girls. Tell them everything.
Yeah, so follow me. Honestly, the easiest thing is going to be Racquel Goldy because everything else is in my bio.
Everything else is silver. It's not gold.
But Goldy.
Right? Add a lot.
Follow me there. Racquel Goldy, Millennial_Girls, Beyond the Front Row Show. Find me in those places.
Everything else.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for sitting down with me. I think Manny's still on the floor, passed out from drinking over here. So, well, next time we'll see him. You know what I mean?
Next time. I can't wait to meet you, Manny. I can't wait.
All right. This is the Pitch 617 with Dr. Sarah and sometimes Manny. And we'll see you guys soon. All right. Thanks, Racquel.
Thank you.
Millennial Girls. Bye.